Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. This is the part 2 of the ReFramework series. In this part, we are going to be learning about the second state in the Robotic Enterprise Framework, that is the get transaction data state. And uh, we can also learn process transaction in this video also. Let's see. Right? Okay. So let's do a quick recap. We were in the initialization state in the first video, and in our this project, we need to enter some like data taking from this Excel to these forms, right? So now we are using the queues in UiPath, right? We're not using the data table for here for this input, right? So what we are using queues. So we have mentioned, I have already explained this file over here to you in the previous video, right? So here what we are doing, we are mentioning the queue name over here, the queue folder. This URL was automatically mentioned, before on the before video. Okay, so this was the initialization state. I explained that how the this config file was getting initialized and how it was getting converted into a dictionary and all. See over here. Okay, and if we'll go over here, so you can see that in here we initialize our browser also over here, like right. To initialize the browser, we provided an in argument. This in argument variable, this in argument was provided by this in config RPA URL not toString, and this RPA URL was here. This thing you can see. I just called the key of this dictionary and we will be getting the value. Okay. And we have also provided the queue name this time, that is RP underscore challenge. Okay. So now let's move to the second state, that is the get transaction state, data state. Okay. Okay. So here, as you know that state machines have two blocks, entry and exit. So we are in the entry block. Here there is a sequence. It's written that to retrieve a new transaction, data had to be processed. The transaction number variable holds the current transaction number, and incrementing this variable makes the framework retrieve the next transaction. So means there is a transaction number variable over there, right? You can see this is of int32 variable type. The default value is 1, right? So there will be it will be starting from 1 only, as the default value is 1. So it will be starting from 1 only, and the this is the transaction number variable. Its variable type is int32, means it's an integer only, right? Okay. And now it's written, if the framework is retrying a failed transaction, this variable is not incremented until the maximum number of retry attempts is reached. Means if it's this, our framework is trying to like retry a failed for example, a transaction was not processed successfully, so it will be going to the failed state of the queue, right? So the variable will not be incremented until when, until the maximum number of retry attempts is reached. Means this thing in constant, max retry number is reached, right? Okay, so this is 0 right now. Cool. Okay, here it is also written retry number get transaction item. The number of times the get transaction item activity is retried in case of an exception must be an integer greater than equal to 1. Okay, so let's go ahead. Now here we use the check stop signal, guys. Here we use this because if we were publishing this workflow in the orchestrator and the user stops the job from the orchestrator, our this workflow should be not getting the this transaction item anymore. It will be checking that if should like if this signal has been provided or given in the orchestrator or not. Okay, if it's given, the workflow will be stopping there and then only, right? So it will be safely stopping our ReFramework workflow. Okay, now ahead if we'll go, we have an if activity over here. Now it's saying that should stop or get next means if this activity output is true over here in this condition, means if should stop is true, right? Only then it will be showing stop process requested, as I just told you before. Like if we'll publishing this process into the orchestrator, so this thing will be over there, right? Stop process requested will be in the log message and our process will be stopped. You can see that transaction item is nothing, and if transaction item is nothing, so where it will go? It will be going to the no data and end process will be there, as you can see over here as well. See, transaction item is not nothing. Okay, means transaction item is something. Okay, here it's saying transaction item is not nothing means transaction item is something, right? But if transaction item is nothing, so it will be going towards this end process. Okay, okay, let's get back to it. Uh, yeah. So now we are having a else in else block of this if activity. We are having a try catch block. Inside this try, we are getting the get transaction data workflow. Now we will get into it. Okay. Now it's saying that get a transaction item from a specified source. Example, orchestrator queues, spreadsheets, databases. It we can also procure this item from SQL servers and all, right, from a data mailboxes or web application process integration means API, right? If there is no transaction items remaining, the out transaction item is set to nothing, which leads to the end process states. That is pretty much self-explanatory, guys. For cases if in which there is only a single transaction, means if we want to convert our this transactional, see this is a transactional process. If you want to convert our transactional process to a linear process, which is a single, which will be consisting a single transaction, then what is happening? We will use an if activity to check whether the argument in transaction number has the value 1. Means it is the first and the only transaction because we are only dealing with a single transaction over there. That's why the transaction number will only be 1. Pretty easy. Okay. And assign the transaction item to out transaction item. Right. So we will be defining our variable and sending it to the out transaction item so that it can be picked in the main of this data, main of this workflow, right? For any other value of in transaction number, out transaction item should be set to nothing, right? Because it will be setting to nothing, like we will be setting this out transaction item to nothing because we will be having a single transaction, right? If it will be having more than one, so it will not be a linear process. That's why we are setting it into a nothing. Hope this is clear. Okay. Now it's saying if there are multiple transactions, use the argument in transaction number as an index to retrieve the correct transaction to be processed. If there are more, if there are no more transactions left, it is necessary to set out transaction item to nothing, thus ending the process. So what this paragraph is trying to say, it's saying that if there are multiple transactions, like this is not a single transaction, if there are multiple transactions, so what you guys can do, you can use the in transaction number argument, like this is an in, this will be taking the data inside of it. Okay, we can this use this number as an index. So this will be using as an index to retrieve the correct transaction to be processed. Okay, and if there are no transaction left, so obviously we have to set our transaction item to nothing, and this will be ending the process. Okay, I'll be showing this everything. Don't worry, guys. So this is the log message. Get the transaction item. Okay. Now we are having a retry scope over here. Okay. This will be doing what? This will be retrying the container activities as long as a condition is met or not. Okay. Otherwise, it will be throwing an error. And now inside of retry, we have a try catch. See guys, that's why I was saying that RE framework is the best known exception handling and logging mechanism template over there, which is used by industry experts as well. Okay. So now inside the try section of this, we have a get transaction item. Now it's saying that get a transaction item from the specified orchestrator queue. If queues are not used in this process, replace this activity with the appropriated logic to retrieve transaction items. For example, if transactions are rows from a data table, right, the row corresponding to the current transaction is retrieved at this point, right? So we'll have to set that our this transaction item variable to data row variable because it will be procuring the row, right? So we are giving this orchestrator queue folder over here, right? Like this, right? And we are providing the name over here as well from this sheet, this sheet. Yeah. Okay. This is pretty clear. And if this thing is not able to get the transaction item from the queue, it will be throwing an exception. It will be getting cached by the catch section of the try catch. So it's saying that could not retrieve transaction item, an exception dot message is there. It will be showing only the message part of the exception. Okay. Now it's rethrowing. See guys, throw, rethrow, and try catch. I have already explained in a video, so I request you to please go and watch that. Right? If this error is again thrown over here, row, rethrow, get transaction item faulted. Cool. And then finally we have don't have anything. Now it's saying if a new transaction item is retrieved, get additional information about it. Like this is an additional information part. For example, you need some new fields, right, to be displayed or to be used ahead in your process, so you can use it over here, right? This optional step can be used to include more information about a transaction item, and it is used mainly for logging and visualization purposes. For example, if the transaction items are invoices, then out underscore transaction ID can be the invoice number, out underscore transaction field 1 can be the invoice date, and out underscore transaction field 2 can be the invoice amount. Okay, this is it. We are not, we are just, using this thing only. Like this is saving the date time, okay, to out transaction ID. This is showing empty because we can customize our own field over there as well, okay, using this in config, right? Sorry. Okay, L section, it's empty. Get transaction item data is complete. Okay, we were in the try section only of this else if else block, right? This. If our invoke transaction item, this invoke get transaction data workflow fails, it will be got getting cached into the log exception message, right? Sorry, it will be getting cached in the exception area of the caches, and we can quickly see the import arguments here as well. Let's click it. So we are having this common things which will be invoked in the get transaction data workflow. Okay. And this thing IO, this is input argument, input output underscore DT underscore transaction data. If our like if we are using a data table, so it will be called over here, right? I'll be letting you guys know everything. Don't worry, guys. We'll be doing ample amount of projects using DT as well, or data table as well. So you'll be getting that concept crystal clear over there. Okay, so now come to the exception part of the catch. So it's showing that if this thing throws an error, our invoke get transaction data activity throws an error. So now it will be, showing that log message and underscore get transaction data error, right? Get transaction data error to string plus this is what this is procuring this from the constant sheet over here, right? This is procuring this from the constant sheets over here, right, guys? This is get log message underscore get transaction data error. This thing error getting transaction data for transaction number. This will be showing in the output section. This is a log message activity only. and this thing is transaction number dot to string. This will be the transaction number over here. Like this will be showing like this. Uh, Error getting transaction data for transaction number. The transaction number will be shown over like 1, 2, 3. Okay, and it will be an exception message will be there at source, and exception dot source will be there as well. This is nothing like this will be only showing the message, and this will be only showing the exception source at where it is being originated, the exception. Okay, so that you guys can have a good logging mechanism over here, right? That it can be used in the post processing as well. This logs. Okay, and now it will be, see if it will be throwing an error, so we'll be having to stop the process over. Okay, so now what we can do, we can provide nothing to our transaction item data variable, and if it will be nothing, so what it will be doing, it will be going over here no data to end the process. Okay, this is also done. And okay, so this was it for the get transaction data item, right? And now let's move on to our project. So I have already made a queue inside my modern folder. This is a modern folder over here with my name. I've already made a queue under RPA underscore challenge. The same queue name I have wrote here also in the settings panel, orchestrator queue name, so that it will be procuring all the details of the queue by calling this key and getting this value. Okay, I have also mentioned my orchestrator queue folder over here, that is dev j. Okay, and the business process name is RP challenge demo. The URL over the this thing is this, sorry, this thing is this application is this thing rpachallenge.com. Okay, okay, so now we have a queue, but we don't have any data in it. You can see, sorry, it's empty. I refresh, it's empty, right? So what we need to do, we need to populate this queue, and the best method is using a dispatcher and a performer workflow. So the best practice to use a dispatcher is a framework. Okay, but I'll be covering that in a linear process when we'll be creating a linear process. So I'll be covering that as well over there. Okay, but now what we can do, we can just use another process over here, right, to dispatch or to populate our queue which is present in the orchestrator over here like this. So this is the queue, right? So we can use another process to populate our queue. So for that we need to read the this Excel file, because see all the data is inside an Excel file only, right? So what we can do, we can read the Excel file, and we will go to download. Excel file is here, so we can read the Excel file over here. The sheet name is sheet 1. We have to read the all file where we are keeping it blank, and we are creating a data table with the best practices, calling it tt underscore input. So our file has been read and it's been converted to a data table, right? And now what we can do, we can use a bulk items, add queue items activity over here to populate our queue. Okay, this project I have done normally also, now I'm doing it using ReFramework. We'll be doing complex project also. Okay, this is a very simple project just to getting you the hang of ReFramework. So I'm selecting my queue name, and data table will be dt underscore input. Okay, so let's quickly run this bot, and just 1 second. Just delete the news folder. Yeah, let's run this bot, and it will be populating the queue in orchestrator. Okay, so bot has run successfully, and if we'll refresh it, if we'll go here, sorry, we'll go here, view transactions. So you can see that we have 10 transactions over here. See, items are 10. Okay, these all are new. Status is new. Okay, So what we have done, we have populated our queue with the help of dispatcher workflow and by using the bulk add queue items activity over there as well. Now we are again switching to RE framework in the get transaction data state. Let's open this. It's getting the transaction item now. It will be getting the queue name and getting the transaction item, and it's saving this transaction item to out underscore transaction item. Okay, so now every this transaction item, every single transaction, but a single transaction I told you guys before also, this one, two, three, this is a single transaction and it contains what? It contains these things. You can see it contains first name, last name, and this what this follows the FIFO structure, that is first in and first out. Okay, so we have everything first name, last name, company name inside of our queue now. We don't need to use the Excel sheet that was being provided to us by UiPath. Okay, we don't need this challenge sheet. We will download it from here, cloud connection. Okay, we have procured the item from get transaction item data. Our underscore transaction item is there, right? And what we can do now, we can use some fields over here as well. For example, uh, out string. So it's using this transaction ID will be showing the date and time over here when it's being processed. I'll show you guys everything. Okay, this is saying that if this transaction item is something, because is not nothing means is something. Okay, then only it will be going inside. So out underscore transaction field is, for example, I can say like this, like out transaction item, because see our this every transaction is held inside a transaction item now. Okay, what we can do, we can use a this thing and out transaction item, sorry, dot specific content dot get value or default of, as I have told you again also, sorry, before in my videos, we can use first name. Okay, dot to string. So it will be showing the first name to us, just as a uh, as a practice I'm telling you guys, right? This is field 1, this is field 2, and we can also use other fields as well, but we have to define it in our framework, right? And here what we can do, we can use out, oh sorry, we use the specific content and the get value or default of method to get the specific data out of a queue. Last name to string. Cool guys. So this is being saved inside out underscore transaction field. We don't need to define any variables, any argument. This is the beauty of RE framework. Okay. So get transaction data state is complete now. Okay. And now let's quickly debug this. But let's close this and start from here. Okay. Sorry. Start from here. Yeah. We can't get a breakpoint on a state machine starting. We can get a breakpoint on the sequence. Okay, let's debug this file. Debug. I'll not be using the initialization state because we have already covered in a previous video. We'll be using the this state, get transaction data state. Okay. Okay, so it's here now, guys. One second. Okay, so it's been stopped. Now let's see over here on the left hand side in the locals panel, the variables will be changing or not. Okay, so now we are using this. It's not showing over here. One second, I have not used this thing. Let me, yep, let me show this thing as well. Okay, so that we can, see it step by step that what it's doing over here. Okay, let's increase the speed of from slow step because we have already seen in my previous video that what it's doing over here, guys. It's just reading the config file over there and initializing it. Now it has opened the browser because it was, meant to open that in the init all application state. Now we are at the breakpoint. Okay, let's get inside of it. So should stop. Should stop signal in false because we haven't published this project to the orchestrator and we haven't provided the stop signal from orchestrator because this is a boolean value. Let's go step into again. This will not get inside of it because this thing was not executed. I hope this is very clear, guys. Very important as well. Okay. So now we will be getting into get transaction data workflow. Getting inside of it. This thing over there has been printed. Now we'll be procuring the data from the queue. And you can see here, this thing also you can see get transaction item, sorry, out transaction item is null over here. After this, it will be number one called John Smith. See, this thing has value of something now. What we can see that it has some values, and this is queue name is RPA challenge. First name is John, last name is Smith, company name is this thing. So it has procured the first item off from queue, like it has procured this item. It has procured this item from the queue, right? Whenever this is being procured or this thing, see you can see first name, last name, IT solutions, everything is there has been shown over here as well. This thing, okay. That's why I'm using debug and going very slow. Every step, guys, I'm letting you understand. So it should be very much crystal clear. Okay. So over there, sorry. So I was just showing that it has picked the first transaction. Now it's in progress. Whenever it's picking the first transaction, it will be showing in progress over here. And in the process transaction state, it will be setting the state to fail or successful, etc. Okay, or abandoned as well. So it's being processed. This thing is in process now. Okay, let's go into step into again. And now it's checking that if this thing is something, because I have told you before also or something or it should be like it can be anything over here, like some variable as not nothing means that variable is something, right? If it will be like this variable is nothing, so it's checking that there's a condition that this thing is nothing, but it's showing not. So this is negating that condition. Okay, let's go inside of it. It will be going inside. it will be processed over here out transaction ID. Like we are only this thing. See, you can say that it showed the time and date. We are not using any write line over here because we'll be using it in the process transaction data state. Okay. Now you can see the out transaction field one was John, and this thing field two will is null now after I press step into, because it's in this activity, it will be Smith. It's saying that object reference not set to an instant of an object. Okay, this thing was there as well. Let's do one thing. Let's I think we have to upload it again. So guys, this is happening over here, like again, that we have told you in the previous project also, that there is a problem with this Excel sheet. It's showing an extra value over here like this. So what we can do, just to remove it, we can use trim also. Okay, so it will be, removing that excess space also from the queue. Let's see. Because if it will be an extra space, it will be considering that as a character. Okay, we don't want any unused character in our workflow, because it will be throwing an error that object was not set to a reference of an object, because it means that it didn't find that data in the queue. This is very easy, guys. RE framework. Don't be, jumbled that, and don't get confused that what is this going on, this complex workflow. This is no complex. Very easy. Complexity is just, in your mind. Yeah. Okay. Okay, it didn't work because I think we have to change the string only over here in this thing. You can see that we'll be having an extra space, and we are having an extra space over here last time. Okay, so guys, this was it. Like we have procured the data from the queue, and I'll be, ending the video here only. Okay, because see, we have successfully procured the data. This thing is a problem of Excel sheet only. We'll be rectifying it when we'll be using the process transaction data state, and next will be the this thing. Next video will be on this process transaction. This is this will be a long video because it includes some major steps that is being used. Like here, the magic of the RE framework happens. Okay, I'll be telling you about exceptions as well, and how to increment the transaction number and everything. Okay, so this was it, guys. This was it for this small video, and if you like the content, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And please share the video with your friends also who are new to RE framework or new to UiPath, or who just wants to learn from basic, because I'm literally going very slow, starting from the basic to the advanced level. Okay, thank you so much, guys, and as always, keep learning.